June 17th, 2026 special school board meeting and workshop. Let us stand for a moment of silence followed by the pledge. Place this under items for individual consideration.
Serving, I'm very concerned that we will not be able to be as effective in our role in helping these students to become better readers and better math problem solvers just due to the sheer number that we're trying to handle. Prior to us having the 3 positions, and she's here, Dolores, she was covering the pre-K through 5 by herself and then coming to Lee, and it was extremely difficult, and she could only do what she could do, and she did her best, but without really talking to her specifically, I'm sure that not as many meetings were held with the students and the parents, and just maybe some kids might have been missed, maybe some kids weren't referred that should have been referred. There is so much to our job, and none of it is hard. It's just all extremely time consuming with the paperwork, the organization, the working with each of the teachers. I personally had 21 teachers under me, and just K through 2. I've given you just an example of my caseload. Just in K to 2, I served 142 students, 57 kindergarten, 35 first, and 50 second graders. In my opinion, at this point, we shouldn't even have 50 second graders who are having, they should have, and some of them might have been looked at prior to, me being there, but some of those students, a lot of those students are referred, I think 21 or 22 students for ESC testing this year, and a large number of those were second graders, and they should have been caught before second grade and either provided services or found ineligible. But just due to the sheer number, it's hard. Is that me? Oh. I thought that was my timer. I never even have my phone on, sorry.
About a minute left, you're okay.
Okay, so with my K through case, I had 191 meetings, just myself. Some of those I got two meetings in per student. It depended when they were referred as to whether or not they had a second meeting, but I assure you, I worked as hard as I could from August to May and never had one moment did I walk into my office and say, what am I going to do today? It was a constant, do all your K teachers, then do all your first, and then do all your second before I knew it was December and time to go home. So then I started over to revisit and see where we were. Dolores did 116 students, 47 third graders, 42 fourth graders, and 27 fifth. And she had 163 meetings by herself. If those were combined, K through 5, one person will be serving 258 students, and they would have had 354 meetings. But there's no way that that's even possible. And even, Dolores will say sometimes I had to look at my list of kids and say, well, they're just they've got better grades. So maybe I'm not going to meet with them a second time because these are more important. We had it going on, or we have it going on. For the first time, I really feel that our MTSS process is truly set up the way it's designed to be. We have it's listed pre-K to 2. I didn't do pre-K, but K to 2, 3 to 5, and Anna did 6 through 8. We all had our roles and our piece, and it was all manageable, and I feel like we were all truly, truly effective. And we finally have, not that we don't have pieces that are good, but this piece is truly in place now, which is the foundation of either improving our students through these interventions that we're managing and providing, or eventually having to refer them, and nobody falling through the crack, to receive ESC services. So,
thank you very much, and we appreciate what you do each and every day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I loved my job this year. Everybody said I wasn't going to, and I absolutely did.
If we have any further questions, we'll refer to you during the meeting.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
All right. Under items for individual consideration, 4.1, personnel changes, Mr. Copeland.
Actually, I will be doing the personnel. So once again, I'm bringing these personnel recommendations to you. We have Ms. Peggy Hasty for the school principal. We have a resignation of Ms. Brown. I have the summer school before you, which I'm replacing a teacher. I have to have another ESY para, and I have another bus driver for bus fill-in and then trips. And then on the back, I have our administrative staff annual renewals. And then I have an extra hours request that I'm asking for approval.
Do we have a motion to approve the personnel changes?
Madam Chair, I move to accept the personnel changes.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? Ms. Knight? Oh, I thought you. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. The annual instructional recommendations, is that included what we're voting on right now?
That was removed by Dr. Pickles Monday night, removed from the agenda. That was one of the amendments. So maybe Dr. Pickles.
That's what we
can-
And this is personnel, so personnel that has been placed back. So since it's been placed back, you can't pick and choose what you want at this particular moment while we're having this meeting. So that includes the annual instructional recommendations. And I am pulling and want to pull because I want to discuss an annual contract for Mrs. Leslie Fletcher, Mrs. Kathleen Roberts, and Mr. Zachary Peterson for just cause.
So, let's take in
And
the,
I
all
want to
the
put it on, and we'll add that to the agenda for today for it to be discussed and voted on. Discussed.
there are no instructional, all the instructional were pulled on Monday.
Well, I want to put it back on the agenda today. I can amend the agenda and put it back on.
I don't have the list before me.
I have it, and you or your secretary, anybody can make copies. This is what we got from you.
So we'll have to stop so I can go with the list.
And, pardon me?
It's on board docs.
It's on board docs.
Last meeting.
Last meeting.
Somebody here should have. I say Mrs. Leslie Fletcher, Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Kathleen Roberts, and Mrs. Zachary Peterson. It seems as though the community has lost faith in the superintendent. No confidence in the superintendent any longer when she has approved these 3 people to return. These are annual contract people. She can easily, these people has been investigated by the wrong people. And through that investigation, nothing has happened. If you would read that statement in front of our desk there, we're not supposed to be just giving preferences to the teachers. These schools are designed for students. And if I read, and we can talk about it now, Mrs. Fletcher is not supposed to have any contact with students anymore. So if she's not having contact with students anymore, and we're finding a place for her to work, she's taking somebody else's job. That other person's job that she's been given that position, she's taking that job from somebody else. Nobody has apologized. Then these people, no consequences happen. They write me legal letters from lawyers. No consequences has happened from things that I said in the gym. So no consequences. They think that they can do any and everything that they want to. We even have Mrs. Roberts' husband investigating me. He wants all of my emails and all of my personal emails, the pads and whatever. And she has never ever been investigated, and she is the just cause of all this stuff with this Fletcher. She went out of boundaries. She did not follow directions, and it's in the handbook of what she was supposed to have done. These children were in the library where they were supposed to have been in the library. And they were discussing. And she was so upset with these students that she called the police on them. Calling the police on a child in school. And there has not been an investigation behind her, which I'm requesting an investigation today for Mrs. Kathleen Roberts. There are other things saying that she is a favorite person of the superintendent. There are other things that she's been given free rides with. But as of now, we're supposed to protect our children. And that this is only 3 teachers. And all of them are on annual contract. And I don't see why these people has to be recommended back. We're paying somebody to sit in this Fletcher classroom. She got perks for not being in the classroom with your teachers.
Let's go back to the Monday meeting. I'm wondering, in the history of our school system, let's say, your job wasn't determined by your band score.
No.
Isn't that the reason?
No. You are incorrect.
Well, no, I'm saying this is why Dr. Pickles pulled it, because of the band scores.
No, ma'am.
That's what
First
she's,
of all,
Oh, that's why she pulled it.
yeah, no,
But the recommendations does not depend on the van school.
no, no,
Until
that's,
school
that's what I
grades
said,
and
that's what I
that.
said.
Oh, that's what
So-
you're saying.
That's what I said.
Okay,
Okay, no, wait a minute,
first
okay.
of all, could we please amend the agenda motion and the second to add that back? Because we're discussing something that's not even on the motion.
Madam Chair, if I may, I would like to amend my motion to the consent agenda items and include the instructional and administrative recommendations.
We have an amended motion by Ms. Knight, second.
Mr. Frankie, does your second still stand?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all in favor? So we have it back on the agenda. Have that part on the agenda. All right. Dr. Pickles?
So you wish to include the instructional minus Fletcher, Peterson, and Roberts.
And let's get Fletcher, it's three.
Fletcher, Peterson, and Roberts.
She wants to discuss those separately.
So can we please vote on that and then discuss the other three?
So we'll-
In my motion, please note that we will discuss separately Fletcher, Peterson, and Roberts.
We can do that. We'll put it under items for individual consideration.
I think maybe the easiest thing to do would be go ahead and approve everybody but those three.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve
My motion still
the
stands.
personnel minus those three?
I made the motion, I amended it, it still
We
stands.
have a motion by Ms. Knight, okay, and second by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor, raise your hand. 5-0.
If I may. As we've talked many times, with the superintendent's recommendations, this board decides whether or not to approve those recommendations. Under Florida law, you have to approve them unless you find good cause. That is up to this board. If you are going to deny someone a position, you have to articulate what that good cause is. And it usually is done by the person making the motion. They would say, I move to deny, to find good cause not to approve this person because, and they would list out the reasons. Now, we discussed this before. Good cause is not simply disagreeing with the superintendent's recommendation. It is a matter that you feel goes to the ability of that person to be an instructor in the Madison School District, and what were their qualifications, or their moral fitness, those types of things. It's a serious matter, and but that is committed to the school board to decide. Of course, any issue as far as good cause is subject ultimately to review either by the courts or however the person may wish to challenge it. So with that in mind, what I would do is I take each of those separately, and if that's the way I want to do, and if somebody wishes to find a good cause, you do need to think about your reasons.
Now, let me go back to the good cause. Now, that's, you said the ability to do the job. Does that mean what? I'm not doing my
Moral
job
values and everything
correctly?
else.
So,
I mean, is,
so what I did was, in anticipation,
Okay.
this is that memo that I gave y'all, here's a copy of it. And here's a copy of the superintendent. And this is the one that I sent out to y'all when this has come up in the past.
Thank you.
So on the first page, we're quoting the statutes, and the statute 1012.27 says the superintendent is the one that is to nominate and writing persons to fill positions. The superintendent is nominating these folks. All of them, you've approved everybody except for these three, so those are the only three still at issue. Under 10012.22, it says the district school board may reject for good cause any employee nominated. The term good cause is not presently defined in the statute, and so that's where we go on the next page. There was an administrative law judge did an order in the case of Cowan versus Metz, and that order cited out all the case law that found good cause and what they found. That's where he says, starting on page 2, It is not good cause for the school board to simply disagree with the superintendent's assessment. The school board must prove by preponderance of the evidence as good cause. Next page. A school board may consider the published principles in determining good cause, may consider the published principles governing Florida's education profession as set forth in Florida Admin Code Rule 6B-1. Additionally, the term good cause includes any conduct for which a member of the district's administrative or supervisory staff may be suspended or dismissed. Good cause is not limited to specific statutory or rule offenses which would result in suspension or dismissal from the employee. The school board may reject a nominee for reasons associated with his or her past performance of duties and his or her conduct as related to the role of personnel such employee must work with, etc. And you can read this. So it's not, it is not just that you simply disagree with the superintendent. You have to find a good cause. There is no statutory definition for good cause, and so you have to decide as to whether one of these provisions is met with regard to each of those folks, and I will do that separately.
And so, what I will be speaking on tomorrow, when you have teachers calling students niggers in a school that they're supposed to be safe, in a school where these children can only choose the public school because other schools are there selective. You have to pay to go to a private school, and then you're chosen from the charter schools. And this is the only school that some children has to go through, come to. And when they come to the school, if you read what we have down there, we want to provide our children a safe learning environment, which does not cause them harm or damage. These 3 teachers has caused harm and damage in the whole entire community. Both people in professional, non-professional, the entire community. We've had hearings on these, and we have had findings. Not one of these teachers has apologized yet. Instead of apologizing, they have retaliated. They have retaliated against the board, or personally against me. Mrs. Roberts and Mrs. Fletcher has had an attorney write me letters. They want me dismissed and they want me disciplined from this board because I ask questions, ask no more questions than any other board member. And now they're discriminating against me because I'm black. And they discriminated against these 3 black students. Now they came for me, the other only black member on this board. Everybody who was there, it was broadcast. They heard what everybody said. None of the school board members were for these name callings. But I am the one that has been targeted. They targeted the helpless black children, and now they think they're targeting the helpless black woman. Maybe so. In a way, I'm helpless. So they think.
Ms. Vieta, if I may interrupt for a moment, if I could just call point of order, and let's bring the meeting back to the positions that we are up for approval for, and then we'll go to them individually and
Okay.
address them one by one, if I may,
We
please.
approved the positions on personnel. Is there any other comments about that?
Well, I do want to have discussion
Okay, yes.
on the ones that we're discussing. I specifically asked and requested just for, one of the things that we're running into is, everybody's doing multiple jobs, and they're all over the place, and they're being asked to do things that are not within their job description or their job duties. And so for me personally, I asked for the coordinator positions to be broken down with job duties per day, so that way that we, the board, can have some accountability, when people are performing job duties that are outside what they're asked, what their description or their defined duties for the day are to be. So we've yet to get that, and so, I'm for the positions, but I want us to know that this coordinator is doing X, Y, Z, so when they get asked to do A and B, it's gotten us in so much trouble with people doing HR jobs that they're not supposed to be doing, investigations that they're not supposed to be doing, and I know that we have somebody in that position now, but for me, for the protection of our employees, I want a broken down, this is what this coordinator's job duties are for that day. I know we have a job description, but what are we tasking them to do and what are they accomplishing in that day? And that is what I would like to see.
And we just got people running all over, and we don't know what's going on.
It's just not fair to our employees, you know, and I know, and don't take this the wrong way, I appreciate you all being team players. But the problem is that we have too many employees that are being stretched thin, that they're not able to be good at the job that we actually hired them to do, because they're filling gaps in places that we have left holes. That's on us, and I accept responsibility for that. You know, we left that hole in the HR position, that is on us. Now we have a huge mess to clean up. And so to protect our staff moving forward, because they are the one who's getting, you know, beat up and get a bad reputation for some of the decisions that are being made by the superintendent, not by the employees themselves. They are the messengers. And so to protect them moving forward, I would like those duties broken down.
Because I have everybody ask me, who is Mr. Patrick White? What is his position? What is he doing? Is he the superintendent? Is he able to issue warrants, subpoena powers, or whatever, issue warrants for students? I have all those questions asked of me. Everywhere you turn around, he's running just all over campus doing all kind of things. He should be burned out by now. I don't know if he is or not, but he should be. All those duties and responsibilities.
Chair Gibson, if we may go
And
back.
HR and finance. And I've been complaining about HR and finance all through the year. You cannot do those two positions, needs to be separate and maintained separate. Those are the most important and hardest positions. You want to be paid, and then you want investigation. You want it to be fair and equal, and with somebody who's doing it, and the same person who's doing it, and they have the qualifications to do it. And when we ask these questions, when they ask, who's the equity coordinator? We don't know, because somebody else is doing it.
Right.
The equity coordinator's not doing it.
Whoever's available.
That's exactly who else is available. So this has to stop.
We're still on personnel.
Right, that's under
It's under personnel.
On personnel, okay, yes, those positions, you're the
Yes.
administrators, right. Any other comments about that? Okay, I've got a concern. I'm very concerned about our schools, basically. I don't have a speech prepared or anything like that. But we've lost, not good, but wonderful, fabulous administrators and teachers, and that bothers me. I mean, I've been around a long time, and I see them, I know them. They didn't leave because of money. No. Money's good, but if you're a satisfied person, and I'm one of those. I taught for 40 years. I could have gone someplace else for money, but I decided, you know, hey, I'm happy, so I stayed. All right, let's get to the high school. I was elected in 2016, and I said to myself, and I carried it out, go to as many programs as possible. All right, this year at the high school, I sat there during award ceremony. I think Ms. Hagan was sitting next to me, and I was appalled. Basically, there was no expectations, and when students don't have it's like your own kids. If you have no expectations, they do their own thing. It happened during that. The parents sat there. I watched them. They were like, no one could get them under control. I think Ms. Hagan sat there with me and watched this. Okay, let's get to the graduation. There was no expectations given to those kids. They are having a good time out there. This is a high school graduation. So, but it all goes back to the leader of the pack, which is the principal. The principal is the one in charge. They set the expectations. So that's why I say we are in desperate need of a principal who's actually a qualified, certified principal, not someone that's in training. We don't have anybody out there that can train a principal right now. There's nobody here. So that's why I feel it's necessary to have someone who has experience. Education is good. But if you don't have the experience, well then you're kind of fumbling through it. And that bothers me. And these kids are in desperate need of order. And I think it was Mr. Turner that came here one night and said if there's no repercussions, then things just keep continuing the way they are. So right now, I'm very, very worried about especially our high school. Now, of course, Central doesn't have its principal, and who knows who's going to be able to take that over. But it's just like me. I'm an elementary teacher. I did spend 9 years as a reading coach at the high school, but that doesn't certify me as a principal. I mean, I'm not qualified to do it. But again, those expectations. And let me go back to one other little thing. I'm going to brag about one of our schools, which is closed now, and it's Greenville. I go there, I watch the teachers bring the kids into the auditorium. No one spoke. The teachers didn't remind the children. They didn't need reminding. They sat in the bleachers. The program happened. They paid attention. There was no chaos, no disorder, because that was expected. I don't think we have high expectations in Madison. I really don't. What I saw going on out there, and I'm not blaming anybody or anything, but let's do better. These kids deserve better. I mean, it was a show, and the parents are seeing, and we wonder, why don't our enrollment's going down? Of course the enrollment's going down. The parents are hesitant to send their children there. Just the environment, the teachers. When have we ever seen a teacher come to a board meeting and complain about the chaos? We saw it this year, and she was speaking for many teachers and employees out there, because they're saying the kids are running the show. Well, the kids shouldn't be running the show. The administration should have everything in place. And I know I'm not going to talk anybody into anything. I'm not trying to. I just figure I'd give it my opinion on it, but I'm just so worried about the future of our schools. Turnaround. Okay, the high school's fragile. It's been in turnaround before. We need a person with experience in turnaround. We don't have, in other words, we don't have that. So,
Ms. Gibson, I would like to correct you. Our schools are not in turnaround.
no, I didn't say they weren't in turnaround. I said they had been in turnaround.
Greenville, that's correct. Greenville was our school that was in turnaround, and
Yeah.
this board voted prior to my election to close those 3 schools. Those students from Greenville are being monitored. So, but neither of our schools are in turnaround.
I did not say they were in
That's what I
turnaround. I
was
said they
saying,
had been in
should be cut.
turnaround.
But when you
Because
refer to
consolidation
the
takes more than 1
In
year.
the past,
Do
they've been
anything.
turned around. And
In the past.
when you have chaos at a school, there's a good chance they may go into it again.
so that when you say we need a principal.
Excuse me, can we get back to the agenda and the meeting? I'm sorry.
Well, this is on the
I
agenda.
know,
But when you refer to having to have a principal with turnaround experience, we're not in turnaround. And the principal that you just approved does have a
Madam Chair, was
turnaround.
that just a general statement that you
Let
made
me
about
ask the
turnaround?
superintendent, is this your recommendation?
Yes,
Is
the
this
one
is-
you just
okay,
approved,
this
yes, she
this
is.
You are recommending this. This is your duty to recommend
Yes.
people to take the places.
Yes,
And these are all the people that's being
Okay, so
recommended.
this is your recommendation?
yes.
All right, well then,
And that's why the community has lost confidence
and I
in the
don't have just
superintendent.
cause to say anything against that person. I understand the just cause, but I just want everyone to know, this is Dr. Pickles' recommendation. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you. Thank you for listening. All right.
So could we please get back to
Okay.
the 3 individuals you pulled?
Well, can we actually just address and vote on the ones that we have on the table?
You did vote
We've already
5-0.
Yeah, we did. We voted on that. We were
We voted 5-0 on
That was a
to accept
5-0.
those, everyone except
those 3.
the 3. Yeah, we did that. So
We were in discussion, so I don't know when we voted.
Well,
We voted as
we've done a lot of discussion.
an item, but not as an actual vote. So when y'all go back and watch the video, you'll
Mr.
see.
Reeves?
If there's any question, why don't you take another vote?
Yeah,
I'm telling you, we have not voted. We were in discussion.
Do we have a, well,
We had a motion and a second.
We had a motion and a second, and we were in discussion. We have not voted. So all in favor?
all in favor? 4-0. All opposed?
Yeah.
One opposed, 4-1. Okay. 4.2, 2026-27.
You gotta take, now you've got.
Now take action on the
Now
three.
let's do the rest of
Okay, well, that's up
it.
to
No,
the
we'll do
chair.
it now, that's fine. Okay, let's say 4.1B. Discussing our 3 that were not approved earlier.
And as I was saying, that Mrs. Fletcher and Mrs. Roberts, had even investigated, wrote me a letter, and the beginning of the letter stated, I'm an attorney. It gives me great pleasure to write this letter against you for these teachers. Great pleasure, because I'm standing up, doing the responsibilities, asking the questions. And it went on to list so many things that I had violated when the whole board talked. So this shows their reasoning. They have gotten away with abusing, niggering the students. Now they want to nigger me. Because they got away with it, no consequences. And that speaks to their moral character. And as anyway, a child should not have been found or unfound, whoever investigated them, a child should never been able to feel that way. The children were bullied by these teachers. The teachers didn't remain silent when the children were asking questions like professional people should have done. And the main thing, the police was called on because they were having a discussion. There are rules, regulations, and set procedures that all these teachers, and these are veteran teachers, that they know that they must follow. And they cared nothing about the rules, they cared nothing about the regulations. All they wanted to do was do what they wanted to do.
So, Madam Chair, I will bring these up separately. No, it's, the issue to be decided is whether or not the board is going to affirm each of them, or whether, and if you don't affirm, they're going to have to articulate the cause. So you gotta do that separately for each one.
The cause is their moral values.
Do we have a motion to affirm Ms. Fletcher?
To dispose of. So what,
Madam Chair, I move that we dispose Mrs. Fletcher
and
for her moral values.
We have a motion by Ms. Vieta Hagan. Second?
And to me, and the students, and to me, blackness. They can't stand blackness. We're niggers. That letter they wrote to me from their attorney.
I understand. We have a motion by Ms. Hagan. Second?
I'll second, so we can go to discussion and vote.
We have a second by Ms. Knight. Time for discussion.
And I can take it as a black person. I've gone through immigration. I can take it, but these children can't. And the point of the thing, our children were getting along so well. I mean, they get along well at that school. You don't have any of this racist incidents happening out there among the children. Then there it is among the faculty. The people who are supposed to be teaching these students, who are supposed to be protecting these students, then they start a commotion.
I have a question.
Ms. Thompson?
If Ms. Fletcher is renewed in this position, is she going to go back into a classroom? What will her duties be this upcoming school
We'll
year?
go back into teaching intensive reading.
Well, I thought in the investigation she was supposed to have no contact with students.
That was for the remainder of this year.
Oh, that was for the rest of this year. Oh, so now she can go back in the class and call them niggers again. No consequences.
So if I may ask, let's discuss the legalities of the situation. So, you know, it's my understanding or so I have been advised by the superintendent, that the recommendation for renewing the contract was something that we were obligated to do legally. Is that, can you confirm or deny that that's accurate?
You are allowed to reject a nomination for good cause, and nothing changes that. That's your right under section 1002.22, where specifically 1A2, it says the district board may reject for good cause any employee nominated. Nothing changes that. Now, whether or not that what you believe to be good cause is actually good cause, that would be.
The video is there, the video, everybody has seen the video.
And
The
I,
video is proof.
as far, I'm looking at what Mr. Reeves gave us, good cause, past performance of duties, conduct,
Moral or professional disqualification.
Mr. Reeves, I'm sorry to put you on the spot right now, but based on your knowledge of the previous school year, the investigation, can you advise the board whether or not we have sufficient information to take action as far as just cause goes with this?
So she's been an effective teacher in the year, her evaluations have been effective in the past.
We can't hear the superintendent down there.
I said she has been an effective teacher and has had effective evaluations since she's been in this district.
She's effective, but she has no moral values to the students. So that negates, because she's effective, that negates the students that she's supposed to teach. And she's supposed to just say and do anything. And the video is out there. Everybody's seen the video. It is there.
I would just like the legal sufficiency as far as decision making.
And that's what
I don't want to, I want to take emotions out of this. I absolutely understand what we're dealing with here, but I need to know from a legal standpoint as a board member before I make a decision on this. Is there legal sufficiency? And then are we dealing with the union with this particular employee? How does that pertain to renewing her contract or non-renewing her contract? I think we need to take away the emotional side on both sides as much as we can. I understand it is very, very disturbing.
Until it's you, it is not very, very disturbing until it's you. It is not you. It is me, the lone black, and then the 3 lone black students that happened to.
would this fall under?
And I'm not emotional.
In other
I'm
words,
just saying and stating what it is.
would this fall under, Mr. Reeves, would this fall under conduct? In other words, a teacher, we're not saints, we know that, but I mean, and we all fail at different times. But our conduct should be above reproach. I agree. A lot of these kids don't have good role models. As we spoke about that before I got on the board, and we are supposedly their role models. So this is disturbing. I know, like I said, I know that mistakes can happen, but again, I always say teachers should be kind of something you look up to.
Can you, Ms.
Never apologize.
If I may, as Ms. Knight stated earlier, you said you were under the assumption and were advised that we were legally obligated to renew her contract. Can you speak more to that, Ms. Knight?
That was in explanation from the superintendent, that it was advised that we,
I stated there, when all of this happened, I reached out to Mr. Reeves. He told me to reach out to Mr. Deepson for all of this. Under Mr. Deepson's advice, there is no reason for us not to renew.
and I did request that you get that in writing or have him present to have that discussion with us, and
And we don't have it.
So,
So we're going by word of mouth from somebody who the community has lost confidence in.
Mr. Reeves is aware.
Mr. Reeves?
so what Mr. Deason, I believe, was saying was whether or not the superintendent had to recommend, that's where that all comes in. That does not take away this board's ability to reject a nominee for good cause. Now, whether or not these particular facts amount to good cause, I can't decide that for you. You all are going to have to make that decision. What I can do is I can set out the standards for you. I can tell you in the past, the courts have found that good cause is something very substantial. So you would need, it's not just one or two, mistakes. It is something very substantial that goes to their effectiveness to be a instructor, and their effectiveness in the classroom, and their effectiveness with the students. I wish there was a set standard, and all that, but we don't have one. What we've got is a collection of case law. I think the best compilation of that is what I've handed you from the Cohen versus Metz decision. And specifically, a school board may reject a nominee for reasons associated with past performance of the duties or conduct related to the role and personnel such employee must work with. Those types of things. It's an extraordinary step. It's not found much.
Ms. Fletcher was so upset that she abandoned her class. When Mrs. Roberts called her, she was in her class. She abandoned her class. She didn't call anybody, she didn't call the principal, anybody, she just abandoned that class. And she came down there where the policemen had the children held in the library. And Ms. Roberts, she abandoned her class. She gave no consideration to that class at all. But I'm just finished talking about it. You all decide what you make. The community hears and sees and knows.
Okay, any other discussion regarding eliminating Ms. Fletcher from the list?
I want to say this, and
Speak into the microphone, please. They cannot hear you. I know it, I'm sorry.
who can't hear me? Oh, and
The people that are listening, and we have many people
we
listening.
need to do away with all that. I am in District 4. That's a predominantly black district. I understand all that. I understand too, I don't do things like everybody else. I don't come up here and I don't say I get all these phone calls, because I don't. But what I do is, like I always did when I coached, I went to the house. I went and sat down with the people at their house and talked with them. That's in my district. How they feel, how they feel. I talked to Mr. James Ray. I talked to Mr. Clyde Alexander. I talked to Mr. Patrick Hodge. I talked to different people that I know, and I discussed this. And this is my opinion, and it's just my opinion on things. But Ms. Fletcher made a mistake when she said that word. She didn't call anybody that night. She asked a question. And that's the exact same thing that Mr. Ray told me. And I asked Mr. Ray flat out. And he said, where is the forgiveness? So I talked with him.
You should have done
Miss
that.
A, please.
Yeah, let him.
Mhm. And you can
Go ahead, Frankie.
you can knock me out in a minute, or whatever you want to run this. You've been doing that for years. When we was growing up, you did. But anyway, I just, people make mistakes. She said the word. There's no place in the school for the word. No place. And, but she said it in a form of a question. Now, if she'd have called somebody that N-word, if she'd have said, you, and then that'd have been a whole different story for me. But after talking with Mr. Ray and him, like I said, I can see where, we gotta, she did get her husband to cover her class. She just didn't do this week. That was pouring the rod. I talked to Rod.
That was nowhere in the report.
I talked to Rod. And
Du Bois.
I don't know nothing about that. But he told me that, she got Jason, her husband, to cover her class, and then she went down there. So she didn't just abandon it according to Rod. And I have a lot of faith in Rod Williams. I've known Rod Williams a long time, and I know he's a Title IX coordinator, and I know goodness, because I was a Title IX coordinator, you have to go to trainings for that. You have to. And I asked him, did he have trainings on the Title IX stuff? He said he did, which is investigations and service. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents first on that. But it was not good. It was not, but I can't throw the first stone because I got sins on. So.
And these children are traumatized. They are really traumatized. They have been beat up at school, and this is a learning lesson that they have learned to the school that they should not have learned, and a place where they should not have learned this lesson. It will remain with them the rest of their lives. Their outlook on life is different. The students have spoken to me. All of them have spoken to me. And they've told me how they felt and said that some of them didn't even go on the senior trip because some of the children were beating up on them, saying that they shouldn't have reported it, whatever, but they've been traumatized. And then, Mr. Frankie, that wasn't in the report. The report that Rod did, it was not in the report. And determine what you want.
Any other discussion regarding Ms. Fletcher?
I would like to say something.
Go ahead.
I worked for the school system until 2020, and so a lot of the seniors that just graduated this past year in May, I had them as students when they were in middle school. And when I see them out in the community, they still talk to me, recognize me. And during the time that all of this was going on, I ran into a couple of my previous students in the community, and these were black children who wanted to be heard and advocate for Miss Fletcher. And so that held a lot of weight for me because they showed grace and they wanted me as a board member to know that although they saw that as a mistake, that she was a wonderful teacher and they hated that she was having to deal with the things that she was having to deal with. So, you know, that's just my own personal experience, and that may not be the sentiment of everyone, but when I was approached, specifically, I remember one student in particular who was a wonderful student when I had her. She never got in trouble. She had straight A's. She was a model student, and she came to me and said, Miss Fletcher really helped me throughout my high school years, and she, as an 18-year-old senior, wanted to make sure that I knew that Miss Fletcher needed to be shown grace. That held a lot of weight with me, and so I almost didn't say that, but I think that needs to be said. When she has had students speak on her behalf, to go to bat for her and to make sure that it is known that she loved her students and she made a mistake like many of us do. I just wanted to put that on the record.
Any other discussion?
I will just reiterate, I've had a lot of the same conversations. You know, the hard part for me in this is, you know, and I've told everybody, I don't believe there was any malice intent behind that situation towards the students particularly, but it doesn't erase what happened, you know, and it doesn't change the fact that it's not acceptable behavior from a teacher in our schools. You know, and the hard part that I have with it is, you know, we're the joke. We're national news. Like I can't even go to a national conference like COSPA and people look at my name tag and see I'm from Madison County and want to talk about it or laugh about it. You know, like our reputation, you know, and the education that we're providing our students in this safe space that they're supposed to be in, you know, is also something that just weighs very heavily on me. You know, I just, it's very frustrating for me that we have spent so much time focusing on all of this and not how to progress our students, how to help our students. You know, I reiterate to the board on a regular basis that our decisions have to be student-focused. They have to be student-led. Everything that we do, if it does not progress our students forward, what are we here for? So, you know, this is a very, very difficult decision for us, but we also have a duty and a responsibility, you know, to protect the district as a whole. So,
And now I am the joke. I am the joke. These two people has had an attorney on me. I am the joke. And I'm just seeing it, the whole community just seeing it, the blackness of it. The blackness of it. Now, they attack me, but you will be sued. We will be sued, Lord. We will be sued.
One of the things I'd like to address is consistency. I mean, I know of an incident at Central, a teacher that was cussing at the kids regularly. No repercussions. And I'm thinking, it's appalling to me that a teacher would actually cuss any student. And so we're not being consistent with this. We're zeroed in on Miss Fletcher. Okay, she shouldn't have done what she did, we know that. But then again, why are we accepting of someone else when they're, and the kids are talking about it. That's how I found out about that incident.
We haven't had a report on it, and it wasn't filmed.
Oh, there's been reports on it, I can promise you. I promise you. It might not have been filmed, but there were reports because one of my own children was in the classroom when the teacher was cursing at them.
But it wasn't a one-time thing either, because the students say, this is how, he says, this is how he can relate to us. Now, we have people like that working for us? That's appalling to
Some of
me.
us know some things and some of us don't know.
I think
It's
only
the
in
moral
Madison
value.
do.
It's your moral values and it's my moral values, so we're not lining up the same. Our moral values are not lining up the same. So, the money talks.
Okay, well, we have a motion by Ms. Hagan, a second by Ms. Knight.
And just to be clear, the motion is to reject Ms. Fletcher's cause. So an affirmative vote is to vote to reject, a non-affirmative vote is not.
Do we have a vote to,
All in favor?
all in favor of those who would like to
Reject.
reject Ms. Fletcher? Opposed?
Motion fails.
Motion failed.
Now, you need you need a vote to accept Ms. Fletcher, so,
Do we have a motion to accept Ms. Fletcher back onto the instructional list?
I move to accept this picture.
We have a motion by Mr. Carroll, second. Second by Ms. Thompson. All those in favor of putting Ms. Fletcher back on the list?
all opposed.
Opposed?
Do the next one.
All right, let's talk about Ms. Roberts. Do we have a motion to eliminate Ms. Roberts from the instructional list? Either way.
Madam Chair, will you eliminate Mrs. Roberts from the instructional list?
We have a motion by Ms. Hagan.
And
you have to state just cause.
you have to articulate any point.
Moral values and procedures, professionalism.
Second. Second, Ms. Knight?
I thought she did.
No.
I'll second it so we can go to discussion.
Yeah, for discussion, okay. Any discussion?
And of course, she has never been investigated, but this lady wrote me a letter. She had her attorney to write me a letter and tell me what pleasure it gives them to write me this letter.
That is incorrect. She was investigated.
Well, then we didn't have any results on it. You kept us secret. And we have those results? We never received any results on this, on her.
So first of all, you only asked for Fletcher.
Ma'am, it's not what we asked for, it's what you're supposed to, by your bound duty, supposed to give us. And you knew that we were having investigations on these things, and then you kept that a secret?
No, ma'am, I did not.
You didn't tell anybody, you didn't tell the board. The general public doesn't know that there was this, an investigation on her.
She was part of it, that was a separate.
Well, I would like to have those results, and if she was investigated, can we have them now, please? Because it should be available now.
At the end of this meeting, yes, you may have it.
Well, no, ma'am, can we have it now? We have time, we can recess so that you can get it. Madam Chair, may I ask for a recess so
Yes.
that the superintendent can get that information that we need?
Yes, we will take a short recess.
Thank you. And the recess, it shouldn't take no longer than 5 minutes. So, shouldn't take longer than 5 minutes to Dr. Dudley. Sorry, Mr. Patrick, but it's nothing against you
You're fine, Miss Hagan, I'm good.
because I've had some, and you know that subpoena, that warrant and whatever that was issued
Which
for
one?
Ms. Katina Young.
Yes.
It's a lot of concerns about that. And look here, and I think I'm supposed to be subpoenaed to court.
With that?
It's a felony. And she has worked in the system for so long, and she might lose her benefits.
You going to Lake Park? Time you go?
Whenever you're free.
Whenever it ain't raining.
So you teach that class, or y'all have nothing to do?
Ms. Hagan, would you like the witness statements and everything?
Sir,
Would you like just a summary or you want the
I
entire?
want the entire thing,
Gotcha.
because I didn't know she was under investigation. I didn't ever know he was investigated.
I know, but no,
And I'm just doing what my general public asked me to do. And I'm doing what they do, so the consequence here is what we have.
We all like everybody's looking.
We don't be stressed. You
I
get this
will,
one,
I
just like this
just
place.
told whoever walks in, I said, I gotta have a handle. I couldn't do this if y'all hate, you hate me. Oh, my goodness. What'd you say now? Of course, I had to pick this one to be more. I got 20 years.
It doesn't get any better, that's for sure. I want to be like my mom, she's. And actually, if it was
Dang, you can't work, but why don't you work a little longer?
She already worked there this summer for free.
Listen, you get home at night and cook something for the house.
What are you talking about?
Well, when I returned.
But we had about 102 one.
Well, we can do it, but we'll just be not doing a very good job. We wouldn't even be able to do it.
Checking boxes.
We wouldn't.
That's not fair to the students.
It is. Until I asked, like, I had never sat down and really figured it out. I just know what to do every day. When I have divorces, it's 8 to 5, don't come out. Good. That's unbelievable. You need 6 to 8. I don't know that because number one, that wasn't the position. Was affecting what, it's a whole separate thing.
It's bad to get old.
She
retired.
She did, she did.
Finished up as a principal in Brevard County. Got a lot of accolades, and I'm surprised she didn't like.
I don't
I had to call her back in twice, but I'm a person who did a lot of traveling and all, and he wanted her to, he retired from NASA. He was like a supervisor there. And, when he retired, she was finishing up job. And she won that prestigious, like, top 5 principal in the state of Florida, and got Brevard County principal of the year. And I was like, you should do the contract. You probably could make it. Going from small districts, so. No, when I was on the board here, Lee was purple racer, we were like, no, Blair cannot do that, because we'll be out of a job. She would have us fired, because she was no nonsense. She would put up with us to the water got hot. She was not. And the school she was at was inner city school down there, that she lost all the detail today. Where people are like shy there, I mean, it was a rough place, and she didn't play. And down there, they have the same issues here or more, because they don't have teachers. I mean, they're like,
You got all the space nerds down there.
and she was, like I said, at the inner city school where people didn't really want to go. It wasn't common for her to have 5 openings. She would have to get in there and teach classes herself. Along with people shooting at people, just rough. Yeah, I'm trying to encourage her to like do some consulting, but she's in
You can always stop by there at the Dixie Crossroads and get you some hot shrimp there. That's my favorite part. My education consultant, Jerry Cook,
Y'all actually did.
Lee and I banned her from coming back up here. We're like, no, don't come up here. As long as we're in office, that won't be good. But she has a place right next to Lee's. She they all like this triple wide, repossession. So they have a house up here, and they've been to Hawaii, went to Europe for like 3 years, went to Switzerland back in the winter. So she had hair golf. I mean, she plays golf. She said her goal now is to get be a golf pro. With that much she got the golf team. Yeah, that's her daily consultant is on the golf course.
That help that she did.
Being supported with something like
He's really strong. She tells him the options. And she tells him those
in the right place.
and so,
That makes
and
sense.
then find out. She said,
I don't got that a lot.
"Then you still want to come here?
Y'all do really well.
Come on and join us. We'd love to have you." She doesn't make them feel, everything like no, I mean, sometimes it depends.
That's not very, real estate. Thank you. But I'm still wearing it. Well, you're welcome to pay me back anytime.
No, we won't do that.
Then, so we lose big, which is. We're all in there.
She does not trust me. Don't trust nobody, but I do. Speak to her, yeah.
To remember that.
That's all. About 103 years ago?
Yeah, about that.
We now have the findings.
Like it says right here, and a thorough review of the policy, there is no policy violation.
Even when she said, so she doesn't trust anybody but I doesn't. She didn't trust nobody, trust her. And she had limited interaction with her, and she had faced that for so long. She didn't trust anybody but I. She didn't trust the principal out there. And how long had she been placed out there? Not long. She didn't report to the principal because she did not trust her. So it's just, everybody do what they want to do on campus, and doesn't matter who's in charge. But she trusts Ms. Fletcher to call Ms. Fletcher. She trusts her school resource officer to call them. But she didn't trust the black principals.
Any further discussion on Ms. Roberts? Any questions regarding the investigation?
No, ma'am, I just read in there where she said she didn't call the principal because she didn't trust the principal. And we know that she hadn't been assigned out there. It was just a little short time, a period she had been assigned out there. But she trusts the school resource officer, who was white. She would trust Ms. Fletcher, who's white. But then the black principal, she didn't trust her because she's black. And she didn't call her, and she went all outside of procedures of what she was supposed to have done. And she called the people she trusts, not the way that she was supposed to perform her duties. So that's another black person she doesn't trust, the only black person who's in charge of the school.
Any further discussion? We have a motion by Ms. Hagan, second by Ms. Knight, to eliminate Ms. Roberts from the instructional list. Do we have a motion? All those in favor of eliminating Ms. Roberts from the instructional list? Oppose? Do we have a motion to accept the nomination of placing Ms. Roberts back on the instructional list?
Madam Chair, I move to accept the nomination of Catherine Roberts to be added back to the instructional recommendations.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor? Oppose? All right, Mr. Peterson, do we have a motion? Do we have a motion on Mr. Peterson?
Madam Chair, I move that we remove Mr. Peterson from the instructional list.
We have a motion by Ms. Hagan.
State just cause me.
What this calls moral character, moral values.
Second.
I'll second, so we go to discussion.
Second by Ms. Knight. Any discussion?
Not only did he say the word and say it, and then after the students asked him not to say it, he knelt down on it, he kept saying it, and it was his right to say it. He was disrespectful to the parents. I mean, any educational person knows when to keep the mouth closed sometimes. And he just didn't keep his mouth closed at the beginning. And that's his right to speak, but then it showed his moral values and his character.
Any further discussion?
Do you have, Mr. Peterson's evaluations?
I believe this past year was another,
He was what?
he was another this past year, the prior year. As far as that.
Dr. Nichols, are you recommending Mr. Peterson back?
Yes,
I didn't hear her.
yes.
I think Dr. Pickles is recommending all three individuals back.
Mr. Peterson did not use the racial slur in the classroom. He used it during the parent conference, and he was reiterating when the parent used the word. And he was restating, speaking.
So the report says that he did use it in the classroom, and he said it was his right to use it, and he had given permission to use it in the classroom.
He stated that, yes, he had been given permission to use it in the context of a lesson, but it was unfounded that it was ever used in the classroom.
Did, remind me, he stated that the previous principal had given him permission, and if I'm correct, the previous principal did not.
That is correct.
Was no longer employed us there. So where's the respect for the principal? No respect. Everybody does, they do just what they want to do. They choose and pick what they want to enforce and what they don't.
Any other discussion regarding Mr. Peterson?
Have there been any other investigations regarding Mr. Peterson outside of the one that we are aware of with this particular instance?
None that we have located files on.
Have there been any complaints filed against Mr. Peterson outside of this current investigation that we are speaking of, whether that be from other employees or students?
None that we are aware of. There was one tied to this thing, but it was unfounded.
Any further discussion? We have a motion by Ms. Hagan to eliminate Mr. Peterson from the instructional list, second by Ms. Knight. All those in favor? This is to eliminate Mr. Peterson from the instructional list.
You understand well.
Oppose?
That's to reject for good cause, that the good cause is rejected instead.
Do we have a motion to place Mr. Peter, Mr. Peterson?
That was it.
That was it. We're finished with that. Okay. I think that takes care of for personnel. 4.2, 2026-27 staffing plans. Dr. Pickles?
Sorry, I figured that. So I have pulled the last employee.
Can I say one more thing? Okay, again, I'm going to reiterate consistency. if we're going to attack, I realize, I know what happened here, and I realize they probably are sorry for what happened. But I want consistency across the board. We've allowed too many things to happen with no repercussions, and I'm not happy about it. Thank you. Go ahead, Dr.
So before you on the printed is the last approved staffing plan.
Thank you.
I also have emailed Mr. White so that he can show on the screen one that was approved in 2021. So as far as a staffing plan, I just need a plan approved for us to work on. I emailed the budget to everyone when this night, asked for different things as far as the job descriptions. I also sent the administrator chart. Our projected budget for this upcoming year, because we will be projected to be down now that we have the final budget, is projected to be down $630,000. That will show us an assigned fund balance of 6.6%. So that's what you have to work on when we start our bargaining. So we have to start with TISA monies first and have that finalized by July 31st. And if we do not have the TISA monies bargained by the 31st, we have to declare impasse. So as far as the 6.6, that's what you have to work off of as far as any raises. The union president has already told me she plans to request raises for non-instructional. Mind you, we gave everyone raises last year. We did give larger raises to our instructional, but we also addressed the non-instructional, those that had been here the 15 plus years. So, but I do know the union president does plan on asking for more money for our non-instructional. So our board policy states that we maintain a 5%. We have to maintain a 3% or else we declare a financial emergency. So 950, 960,000 is what our payroll runs each month.
That's gross
Gross payroll.
with, the benefits will add about 30 to 33% of that.
I just need a staffing plan approved. We will operate within the budget. So come FTE based on what our FTE is too, we will come back and say, okay, for whatever reason, if we are down 300 students, if you will turn to that last page, I think it's the last page. Right next to the last page, page 8. Those are our projected numbers as far as our student numbers. You have to look at them. Those are our projected numbers for the coming year by grade level. Of the printed here. So those are by grade level, our projected numbers. Did get with Ms. Motes, we verified. The only thing that is not in our system, only because she has not moved any of the students over, are the pre-K numbers. However, she gave me those numbers. So these are accurate numbers as of now, as of actually this morning. So based on that, based off class size, it shows you the number of teachers we should have for a grade level. So for kindergarten, we have 76 as of now. This does include our retentions. So this will tell you. So I may be moving teachers around just because Ms. Smith has taught kindergarten forever. I do not need, we'll say, we're just using this as an example. If I've had 10 classroom kindergarten classes for the past year, you see I only need 7 as of now. So I possibly am not going to need 7 kindergarten classes. So we know several teachers are not coming back. You just approved some of them that we keep hearing are not coming back. However, until they turn in a resignation, I still have to move forward as if they're returning.
So,
These are the projected numbers with how many classes we will have to have and our teachers. So just because Ms. Smith has always taught second grade, Ms. Smith may have to move to fourth grade or fifth grade. So there may be some shuffling around based on certification areas if I don't need the class.
Okay, let me ask you this. I requested, a list of the cuts. Where the money? In other words, where's the money?
I started making some, each of the 4 of the 5 of you came in. So several of you, like Ms. Gibson, you requested cuts in places. The next board member would come in, Mr. Carroll came in and requested to have the positions added back. Ms. Knight came in and added some additional
Let me
positions.
stop you right there. You are the superintendent.
That's
Now, I
correct.
can do all the talking I want to do, and they can do all the talking they want to do. Don't put it on the board.
No,
You have to make the
the
decisions.
board controls the positions,
But you have to give us a recommendation, though. It doesn't matter because Carol wants this, that, and everything else. I mean, I'm just,
I will staff based on the budget.
uh-huh.
So the board statutorily approves positions and a budget. Then based on that is what then finance we operate in.
All right, but I don't want you to place it on the board, though.
No,
In other
I
words,
just
you
have to
have
have
to
an
do your
approved.
job.
I have to have an approved plan, so
I know
I know
that,
what
too.
we're
I know you gotta
operating
have a
in.
approved plan.
I don't, and then it seems as though the superintendent is doing the master schedule. I thought each principal should do their master schedule. She's talking about where she's gonna place this person and place that person, and so that principal has no say-so in it. We know that we need so many teachers, and we aren't going to have those spaces for the teachers, but then instead of doing your job, you're doing the principal's job, doing the master schedule.
The superintendent does not know how to do master schedules.
Well, that's what you just said, you're doing the master schedule, you're gonna have to sign this one there, just because Mrs. Smith has taught in kindergarten for so long, let the principal decide that, you're deciding where she's going to go, you just said that
I
yourself.
don't think that's the master schedule. The master schedule applies to the students. She's assigning the staff is what she's doing.
Well, I just heard what she said,
Can we get
where
back?
she would assign, so
Point of order.
I'm saying that the principal should be doing that, and the superintendent doing more of her job than the principal's job.
Okay, can we get back to, I have some questions. Directly, Ms. Gibson mentioned the budget and numbers. I would like to see last year's approved staff allocation plan versus the proposed, and where these staffing allocations actually are saving money. For instance, if you're proposing that I'll just use MTSS coordinator, for instance, as one of the proposed changes. You're proposing that we go from 3 to 2. I want to see the dollar amount of savings for each of those positions that we're going to be saving in salary, we're going to be saving in benefits, we're going to be saving in annual leave. I want to see the dollar amounts assigned to each of these proposed changes to see where that adds up to $630,000 in savings.
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes, go ahead. Mr. Copeland, just, come on.
Well, just a high level. Those questions need to be answered in more detail as far as assuming every position on the current staffing plan were filled and assuming the changes as proposed in the staffing plan. A rough estimate right now would be somewhere around $300,000 to $350,000 in overall compensation savings. Would y'all please give me a little more time to define that a little bit more, going staff by staff on the proposed changes? I think that's a fair estimate we can work off of at the moment.
The question that I have, though, we've been in consolidation, and we consolidated 3 schools, and all that consolidation, we should have seen all kind of of money. And that was the purpose of consolidation. And now we know also that we won't have the enrollment up like it's supposed to be. But where's the money saved from consolidation? And it seems as though to me that the students are being disserviced.
Well,
Nobody in administration or anything or whatever, no jobs combined together, all the burden is falling on the students. The students are not getting what they need.
I agree with that, and that's something that I have noticed looking at this, is there are a lot of high-paying administrative jobs, and there aren't a lot of cuts, if you will, in those positions. And I'm not saying those positions aren't important, but to me, it's more important that we have people in the classrooms, hands in the schools, than, I'll just say it frankly, these White House jobs that are high-paying with high benefits. It is more important to me that our students are served appropriately and do not have anything taken away from them.
And then the burden is put on the teachers too, has been placed on the teachers. These people who are doing a good job right now, and the students are benefiting from it. Now we want to cut the interventionists. There's no way
Let me
that
ask,
our students are going to get a good education from all
Madam
these
Chair, if I may.
studies that we're doing.
have there been any coordinators cut?
No, they were cut before.
So, before what?
They were actually cut when you approved this back in April.
Okay, and I think going back to Ms. Thompson, like I've got the 26, 27, and then the, in other words, what you're saying is you want a comparison.
I do, I want it side by side.
This is this year, and this is gonna happen next year. And how much is this gonna save us, and, because you have a lot of paperwork here, but it's,
Can I
go ahead, Mr. Copeland.
Can I respond to that
Yes,
projection? On the one-page general fund summary that y'all received in your package, it's got the colored columns. You'll see that it shows our fiscal year 24 audited financials, our fiscal year 25 that we're wrapping up our audit on right now, and then our projected budget at this time for our 26-27 year that begins July 1. These, you will see that we're projecting a significant decline in our overall general administration, and a lot of that comes from the consolidation of the schools, as Ms. Hagan mentioned. But I want to put a caveat on this. Our formal budget will be prepared somewhere between August and September to get to Department of Education. So these are projected numbers. They're going to change, but I think it's a fair projection based on the administrative cuts we've had and other changes in the individual line items of expenses that you see. Ms. Thompson, where we are projecting some administrative savings on the initial budget, what I don't have for you is a detail of that, and that's something we need to get. I understand the question.
If I may, Madam Chair.
Yes.
So, I mean, this goes back to, again, correspondence and information being shared with the board. So I specifically requested a detailed breakdown of the proposed staffing plan that included the paraprofessionals. I wanted a summary of all positions that were proposed for elimination, reduction, reassignment, or restructuring. Any supporting data that was used to develop the information, including savings. I also requested, and it looks like you may have prepared it and not sent it over, the breakdown of the duties for the coordinator positions. And, again, I was reiterated that, even though we don't see the list of cuts, we're not cutting anywhere that it's going to impact our children. And I strongly disagree. And again, we can't have one guidance counselor for 2 schools. Our high school students deserve more than that. We cannot have 2 deans at the central school. Anybody who has spent 15 minutes in central school knows you are not operating that school with 2 deans. We also cannot cut MTSS. And I understand that cuts have to be made, But we need to look at the big picture here, and we need to look at the things that are not going to directly impact our students. And that is what's happening right now. I'm not confident in cutting these positions and where we're going to be with our student progression next year. You know, all of these decisions need to be student-focused and student-led. I feel like a broken record, and I keep saying it over and over again. So, you know, at the end of the day, and I also brought up the fact, you know, you want to cut deans. You know, you want to go to 2 deans, okay? We're already underwater with our threat assessments, okay? There should be somebody who handles threat assessments specifically. You know, again, you want to cut to 1 guidance counselor. Who's gonna handle testing? Who's gonna do all of that? You know, those are things that we have to take into consideration. And, you know, again, I'm not saying that, you know, again, we don't have to cut some of this stuff, but what are we cutting?
Understood.
So that we know exactly how it's going to impact our kids. Because what I see so far, there's several things on here that we can all agree to disagree, but as somebody who is in that school on a regular basis, these are things that I'm going to sit here and I'm going to dig my heels in and I'm going to fight for. They are going to directly impact our children's progress, and we're going to have to figure it out.
Mr. Copeland, in response to Ms. Knight's email, everyone was sent this information yesterday. Mr. Copeland, would you walk through the expenses? Do you have your document?
I do have my document. Instructions, and I'm gonna go through the significant ones. I'll answer every one I can if y'all want to go that
So the
direction.
comparison, so be mindful that we gave over $1 million in raises. The significant
That was before
aspect.
consolidation. That was before consolidation that we gave those raises, and we were able to give those raises. And we left a big healthy fund. It was something like almost 19% healthy funds, and that was before consolidation. And we knew that when we gave that raise, that we would not be able to give another large raise, but that was before consolidation.
That is not correct, Ms. Hagan. That was this past August.
It came effective this past August. I was on the board then, you were not. When we passed, Ms. Caroline, Ms. Franklin, when we said and we negotiated those raises, that was before consolidation, and that was up under Superintendent Shirley Joseph when we did the negotiation on it. We did that negotiating on it then before consolidation. And then it came in effect when you came in, but that had already been negotiated with Mr. Deeks.
That is an inaccurate statement. The board you met, Ms. Gibson was not here.
Yes, after, but you were not here. You can't speak on it because you were not here. And
That may have been
was not
another
here.
raise.
We had discussed that before. We had discussed those raises before you all came on the board, and we had decided to give those raises. Then when you all came on the board, and then we discussed it some more, but we had already discussed that before consolidation, what we could and what we couldn't do, and if we wanted to go to impasse or anything like that. But we had discussed all that.
So regardless, that may have been a different raise. The raise we provided in August that was paid in December, the 4 of the 5, because Ms. Gibson was not able to make executive session that day, the 4 of the 5 were very comfortable taking our fund balance down. And knew that that was going to happen, but we knew we were going to be hopefully getting rid of the schools. We have now definitely gotten rid of one, working on the second, and then we'll work to get rid of the third school. But comfortable in taking our fund balance down because it was well deserved for our instructional staff. So now, back to that, you'll see our difference in the instruction. So now, back to you, Mr. Attorney.
If you look at the budget column to the far right, I'm going to go through the significant variances that we're projecting next year versus where we're projecting to end this year. And again, as Dr. Pickles mentioned, instruction, the major portion of that increase is the increase.
Can you pull that closer to us?
Yes, can we have that screen a little bit closer?
Yeah, it's-
We don't have a printed copy of that.
You received it in an email
I was
yesterday.
gonna say, but we don't have it. Yes.
That's the reason I asked him to put it on the screen.
And I always ask for printed copies, so I guess I still don't count.
That's better.
Again, I'll try to make this succinct, but y'all stop me, we'll get as granular as we need to. Our total revenues at the top projected for next year, as we've already discussed, with the projected FTE decrease, we're projecting to be down about about 658,000. Our instruction expenses are projected to be up. The majority of that is compensation increases we made, and they will roll forward. But you will see some projected favorable budget items going forward, which mean we're projecting expenditures lower than we're currently at. You'll see general administration, where we're projecting the end of the year at $659.40. We're projecting our budget next year at $486,908. There's a savings there. School administration, and this is the administration costs that were eliminated mainly due to the school consolidation, where we had 1.64 million. We're projecting 1.1. Everything else is pretty much level with our current year, with the exception of maintenance of plant, operation of plant. And there's a combination of things that make up that projected reduction, but a portion of that is expenditures that are going away with the school consolidation.
Thank you so much.
As we work through the formal budget preparation, which includes the trim process and then the detailed budget that has to be provided for the Department of Education, I will keep y'all updated on changes. But again, these are projected numbers that this is the best projection we can do right now. We're going to get more granular on that as we move into the formal budget preparation. But I also want to convey some areas that we see that are mitigating factors going forward to help us address a projected projected operating deficit. And this, we've already talked about the school closures, and they're kind of built into this already. We've got some overhead savings, and we'll get you a more definitive number on that if we were to move the district office out to one of the schools. I know that's a decision y'all have to analyze and make the approval or the recommendation on, but that is a consideration that would save us some money. Not a whole lot, but it would add to the, mitigate the deficit. We are also working through the self-funded insurance program. And I hesitate to give y'all a savings amount on that, because if it doesn't come in at that, I don't want to get vilified. But I'm confident we're going to save significant money. But that's going to involve our union negotiations, and we're going to have to take into account what we match under our policy, under our bargaining agreement and benefits. If we save money on policy costs, but we're not able to save money on what we match every employee, we're not going to save anything at the district level. How this can work for everyone is we're projecting the overall premiums to go down significantly. That would mean the employees' portion outside of what the district matches should reduce, so they should be in a better situation. And we're already paying about 20% more of our employees' benefits than is in our bargaining agreement. We want to pay as much as we can. We don't want to take, we want an employee at the end of the day going forward into the next year to have less expense for insurance than they have right now. But we also want the district to have less expenditures in insurance than they do right now. And again, we're working with Fleet, we're working with Alliant, we're going to be working with our contract effectuator, which is essentially our broker. And this is one of the areas I'm confident we can save some money on. You know, I don't know exactly how much. I can tell you right now what the district's paying out. It's around $2 million in insurance premiums. But keep in mind, those insurance premiums are costing each employee that's selected also. So we want their portion to decrease. But it's not as simple as just putting a pencil to it. But
What's the predicted enrollment for Central?
Refer back to page 8.
Just give me the number.
Around
I've
1,100.
heard 700, I've heard 800, I've heard 1,000, I've heard 1,100.
With this, real quick, this budget that you have, is that with the proposed or with the current staffing plan? Is that with the proposed staffing plan?
It's with the current
Okay.
staffing plan.
Okay.
And keep in mind, Ms. Thompson, I think where I get confused, we all get confused. The staffing plan, if we didn't make any changes to the staffing plan, you know, that's fine. If we don't fill an FTE position because of budget issues, that's a money issue. I am cognizant from the finance side that you can't let the numbers dictate everything you do. You just got to figure it out because you got to run your business.
Well, and I was gonna kind of speak to that more so along the lines of, instead of eliminating not filling positions and really looking to see, you know, do we have retirees coming up? Do we have positions where, you know, I know we can't predict who's gonna leave the district
Right.
with this upcoming school year, but, you know, I like that, and that's why I asked, this budget, is it with the current or project, you know, the proposed? Because there's a lot of, you know, like for instance, the one in particular is with the, I think it's the administrative, you're saving over $500,000 right off the rip from the previous year with the school administration. So we really need to look at, and correct me if I'm wrong with that, you've got 1.6 million over, and then you're looking at 1.1 million, you mentioned that earlier. So that's just with school administration alone.
And there's a lot of other detail in the numbers that make that up, but again, my attempt with this is to get you something that's a fair discussion point, but I do want you to realize it's not going to come in as I'm presenting it. And so I think I understand what you're asking, and it's the process we go through as we enter into the budget season. Is there's a lot more granular detail that we have to analyze and work through. And if you would give me a little wiggle room on that, I will keep you updated and posted, because I've got to do that to get a more definitive budget prepared. It's very early in the process right now.
Ms. Thompson, if I may, we will address through attrition certain positions. So just because they're on just as of now, there were certain positions we just did not fill.
Right. I guess, and I haven't seen this yet, and if it has been presented, then I apologize, but I want to know, based on current staffing allocation that we are currently operating under, proposed, how many actual staff members are we talking about? If we were to vote and approve this today, as it stands, we all said, let's go, we're approving it. How many
Positions are needed.
positions are we talking? And where are those positions gonna be? Because that is what I have yet to
Amen.
see.
Amen.
I would, and I can't speak for Dr. Pickles, but I think she referenced this at the beginning of the meeting, to delineate between staffing and what we may actually need to fill based on our budget numbers, and that's taken into
And Madam
account.
Chair, if I may,
Yeah.
in our meeting, I reiterated multiple times, I would rather have the positions
That's-
available and not need them than need them and not have them.
And
And
that,
as
that's-
somebody, like I said, who is in that school all the time, I'm telling you, not putting those positions to be available so that we can fill them if we need them is going to be a mistake for
and
us.
that's what I'm saying.
And it is going to directly impact our students.
It's a no-go for me.
This is the,
One guidance counsel, it's no-go. Interventionist, that's no-go. Then the MTSS positions, these people are already overworked. And then you want to cut a person from that. All these, if we approve the staffing table as presented to us, it does a disservice to the students.
Exactly.
And I just cannot go for this present. I cannot go for it. And I would not vote on it.
All right, so first of all, to answer that question, the high school is projected to have 450 students. Central is projected to have 939, and that does include our pre-K 3 and 4 classes.
450 and what was central?
450 and 939.
Okay. Another issue that I have, and this is, I don't know if anybody else has an issue with this, but on page 7, the way the staffing allocation reads for both the ESE support aides and the non-ESE support aides, it leaves a lot of discretion up to, well, if we have the available resources, you may have a para in the classroom, but if we don't have the resources, you may not. That is non-negotiable for me.
And that is why I requested a list of the paras as well, so that we could, and
And then you have to jump through all these hoops. The principal has to jump through all these hoops to say, oh, I need this person and this is why I need them, and no.
And I will-
We need
I will
paraprofessionals.
add to that, Ms. Thompson, that in my discussion, I was assured that that this would be a cut, just so, I don't know if the rest of the board was given this information or asked this, but I specifically asked about the pairs, and I was told that currently, we have a one-to-one with kindergarten through 3rd grade. That will be cut back kindergarten to 1st grade, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Pickles.
That was a request, correct.
And so, that's, again, so that's a pretty significant cut. You're cutting one para for 2nd and 3rd grade.
And if I may piggyback with that and say, as we just heard from Ms. Maltzby earlier, the number of students that weren't identified through the MTSS process, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Maltzby, we have a large number of students in that 2nd grade area. They need all the one-on-one support they can get. I mean, if you have a teacher with a classroom full of 2nd graders, those kids, they're wonderful, but they're rambunctious, and they need as much as they can get in that early, for early intervention, so that we can ensure they are getting the services they need from their teacher or help with their paraprofessionals in the classroom. I don't think we can afford to not have one-to-one in any grade, but specifically those early years.
And that's kindergarten to 2nd grade ideally for me, and I know Ms. Gibson has hit on it multiple times in different meetings, but, we have to focus on these kids at a younger age, because if they are not developing these skills and they are not mastering and progressing in their reading and their math at that young level, we're behind the 8 ball with them by the time they get 3rd to 5th grade. So we really need to be focused in on these kindergarten to 2nd graders so that we know that they have mastered and they have progressed on their skills, so that by the time they are moving through that 3rd to 5th grade, that they are going to be proficient. And again, we focus on test scores, and I know that we're supposed to be transitioning our outlook to proficiency, but again, kindergarten last year was a completely different beast, and I will tell you, these kids just, they were different, okay? And we almost lost all of our kindergarten teachers because they didn't have a pair at the beginning of the year. And, you know, those kids, a lot of them, these were COVID kids. They weren't in daycare, they weren't in, you know, environments where they learned that they had to sit still in their desk. And, you know, so unfortunately, we were having to teach them things that we wouldn't have to teach some normal children that come from a preschool or from a pre-K program. You know, because
Now, I'd like to address that. Paras are, a pair for each teacher is a luxury. I mean, that's something that's almost unheard of, to be perfectly honest with you. So I can, all right, now, but then again, I'm going to go back to my notes from last summer. And I'll say, let's talk about Riverside Elementary in Succulent County. They've got more than 900 students. They've got one principal, one assistant, one dean. Now, in other words, when we're paying these deans, we're taking money away from the students. You know, it's one guidance, one resource officer. I can go to Jefferson County with 850 plus students, one principal, two assistants, one dean. When you're putting money into the deans, you're taking it away from the students. We have principals and assistants that should be handling all that. Why do we need to be having more deans when these schools, they can get, none of these, as a matter of fact, I have quite a Leon, Pine View in Swanee, Lafayette. In other words, Clyateville, Leon High School, Lafayette. They seem to be successful with less. Why do we need to have, you know, all this?
Matt?
Now, I can see MTS, no, I'm all for that. Paras, it's wonderful to give everybody a pair. I mean, I never had the luxury when I was teaching, but, and you gotta think of it. There was times when they had 25 and 30 kids in the class. Not anymore.
Different children.
these kids are
Different
different.
seasons.
It was
Time
different
for season
seasons.
that.
Okay.
These kids
But
are different.
again, why do we need these extra people? Is it, and it tells almost like it's that bad out there, you know, and it didn't seem to help discipline this past year.
And that's why we need those teachers, and we don't need all those administrators.
Well, I'm all for the teachers, you know, you have to have the teachers.
I know, that's why I'm making that statement. And I can see.
And pairs are
You know,
good, if you have a good pair, they're good. I mean, I've had times where I just assume
But
that
the
I have.
parents with the teachers, that gives more room and more learning.
Right, and the MT, we know the value of the MTSS person. Yeah, I mean, we need to think about this. Do we really need as many people as we have right now? That don't have really direct contact day to day.
Everybody talking about the top heavy.
And again, I would recommend that you go spend some time out there and you will see the necessity.
I've spent lots of times in the schools and the classrooms.
I'm
In the classrooms, actually teaching a lesson, volunteering, helping them with testing when they need it.
I don't mean this
But
disrespectfully at
it's
all.
not our job to run
No.
a school.
But it is our job to, when we make decisions, to make informed decisions and to know why we are making the decisions we're making. And I don't mean this disrespectfully, so please don't take it this way. But if any of you were to go spend a week, and I don't mean this to sound bad, it's just these children are different. They are not raised the same way that we were raised. And discipline is not the same as it used to be. You have to handle situations differently than you did when I was in school. If I got in trouble, the principal would take me to their office and corporal punishment was in full swing. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, I'm just saying we're in a different day and age with a different set of children and a different set of parents who are not as necessarily always as hands-on as my parents were. So you have to adapt and you have to realize that this is the day and age we live in. Spend a week in the middle school side. Spend a week. Just go over there and go from classroom to classroom on the middle school side. And I think, and I don't mean it disrespectfully, but I think you'll have a different perspective of the needs that we have. And again, I'm not at all meaning that to be disrespectful. I'm just saying Katie and I do, and I'm not saying you don't, because I know, Ms. Gibson, that you're there, and I've seen all of you at the schools, but to actually spend time in those classrooms with the staff members, with the teachers, for an extended period of time, I think you will have a better understanding of the true needs of these teachers, of the staff, and it's not even about the teachers and staff, it's the needs of the students.
Correct.
It is very important that, again, our students deal with things that we didn't deal with. We didn't have cell phones and social media and group text messages and kids who were having to deal with mental health issues the way that our kids deal with mental health issues today. I didn't have a cell phone until I graduated high school and started driving. These kids are constantly dealing with bullying and, things that are totally different from when I was in school 20 plus years ago. And I say that as a mother with 4 teenagers. I see it from that perspective, and I understand that what may have worked then, it just doesn't work now. And I think to really understand that, and that's why I am the way I am as far as my involvement in being in the schools, because I want to be able to make the best informed decisions for our students and our staff. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I hope that doesn't come across disrespectfully. I just think it is of utmost importance to understand that we have a different set of needs now than maybe we did 20 years ago.
Well, I agree, but it's not up to us to evaluate other school board members either. In other words, if that's your thing, going out there and hanging in the school, that's fine. All right, we still have to look at the bottom line. We want to do what's best for the students, rather than just, we need this, we need that, okay. And then the raise, that's another thing. We've committed to this.
And the day-to-day operations of the school falls on the superintendent, not the board members. And I'm not there as much as we can, but sometimes there's going to be some confusion too. When we sit in these classrooms and monitor these classrooms, and the union, it states if you're going to be in that classroom, some things might happen that you wish you hadn't been in that classroom as a board member.
Madam
Because you are the judge and jury.
Chair, can I
Okay, go ahead.
pipe up again? And again, as Dr. Pickles mentioned in the beginning of the meeting, a suggestion from the finance side, taking into account the instructional side, and keep in mind, my mother retired from the district. My wife's a 22-year teacher. Both of my kids graduated from the high school. Don't have a great understanding of instruction, like some people don't have a great understanding of finance. So we've got to merge the two. If we were to leave the staffing table alone, that does not take away our ability to not fill positions if we deemed that appropriate. And then that way we still have the wiggle room, and that's what I did with the state government. I never cut FTE, I just didn't fill them. And
Well, and that's why I go back to my statement. I would rather have them and not fill them than need them and not have them.
but I think
That's why I'm not going to vote for those cuts.
I think
My
our
position is here. Those cuts, I'm not going to vote for.
I think our initial approach with proposed edits were to let the community and again, I'm taking into consideration, we've got to cover the instructional side regardless of what the money is. We want you to know that when the payroll and comp makes up 60% of your expenditure budget, we've got a reduction in revenues. We're all cognizant that we're going to have to make some staffing cuts somehow. Leave the staffing table as it is, and as we get further into the budget.
Let me say this.
Yes, ma'am.
You're saying leave it as it is, that has been presented to us now?
Prior change.
Oh, okay.
Okay, in other words,
And so this is a new then, because I'm not going for what's
And
proposed here for the staffing cuts.
keep in mind, again, as we enter into the budget season, we're gonna have more defined trim numbers because that's really been supporting our revenues annually with the increase in property valuations. We're gonna have more definitive savings projections on our self-insurance. That's an arduous process that we're working through right now. So if we left it like it is now, we're still gonna be looking for cuts, but it gives us the option to have the positions if we have to. And that's what Dr. Pickles had referred to at the beginning of the meeting. And again,
Are you saying, in other words, this 26, 27, which would have been this coming year, okay, disregard that and stick with the one this past year?
That we're working with now.
On the word, the
I'm going to
25,
defer to the superintendent,
the
but
25, 20.
Well, I
Yes,
can
ma'am.
stay with that. Two guidance counselors, the MTSS people in investments, I can live with that, if they're going to remain.
It will not be the same individuals as of now. There are
We're
several.
not talking individuals, we're talking
Oh, see,
positions.
we don't write
That's
a
fine.
job description to an individual, we write it to anybody who applies.
No, it's not that. So based on certification issues, as of this moment, there are individuals that will still not be recommended back. So through attrition, so right now, our guidance counselors will not be recommended back
When we fill them,
or
we advertise and we fill them.
But again, I just want to reiterate, we're working on positions. We're not discussing
positions.
people.
That's correct.
And our issue is the cut in the positions.
So it's hard trying to find, but a guidance counselor is not unique to us. I've talked to other districts, they cannot find a guidance counselor.
We'll work with it, what you have. Work with these people instead of just all of a sudden letting them know. And maybe they knew that they were supposed to have done some things and they didn't do it. But then they have that experience, they just had certification. Work with these people, work with them. We don't need to lose all these experienced people. Work with them.
So,
If you can't find one, something is better than nothing.
So that would be adding a new position and changing a position because already talked with DOE and that is not something that I.
DOE just recommends to us. We don't have to go exactly by what they say unless it's a state statute. That's just what they, whatever. Been on the school long enough to know when you call DOE, they don't just come in and just tell us exactly what to do. They might make some recommendations. If we don't follow those recommendations, they don't do anything about it.
If I could just call point of order and bring it back to the table. So are we changing the recommendation
The
that,
recommendation, I would like the recommendation, we stay with the last approved,
so if,
changing the APs at the central to 12 months, adding the AP at the
I
high
was
school,
going to just say,
and
we need to address
adding
the
the HR supervisor of HR.
And that's what I'm saying. We have a separate HR person and a separate finance person.
yes, ma'am.
So that was going to be my question, Dr. Pickles, is if we could address the HR and the APs, because those were not on the previous staffing table. So, Madam Chair, if I may, I would move to accept the staffing table that is going to be used from 2025 with the addition of the HR position and the changes for the assistant principals to 12 months and adding the assistant principal at the high school.
But you're still gonna have the two guidance counselors. We need.
Yeah, that's in
That's
that.
still in there.
That's in there.
That's in there. Nothing changes except for the things that I just stated.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, second.
I'll second, and I have some questions.
Discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Thompson, I would like to try to address your concern as far as what is it you were concerned about with the ESC eras?
Well, on the proposed staffing table, it was just more with the paras, you know, it says that, I sent an email regarding this.
Yes,
but-
Mr. Copeland spoke to me about it, so I can tell you every staffing table I've been able to pull back in Ms. Joseph's file, that verbiage is the same from all. So
It will be
it's
assigned
very
based-
vague.
Okay.
So first of all, as far as ESE, that is driven by an IEP.
Right. So our last 25, 26 allocation, what did it state for the paraprofessionals? Because I know wasn't that changed mid-year to add paraprofessionals? That's what we need.
One per classroom.
Okay, so are we
That's what we
voting?
were voting back to.
This is the one.
Okay, and that's what we're voting on now. Okay. With that, okay, so that clarifies that, but something you said a few minutes ago, there still will be staff that are not recommended back. Are
Due to
you,
certification issues.
are you meaning that there will be staff that have not been notified yet that they will?
No, they've already been notified.
Okay, that's all, that was my only
Several
question.
of them keep in contact with me, they are working, but they know that they were not on the list today.
Okay, so after we vote on this staffing plan, can any employee that has not been notified that they do not have a job assume that they do have a job?
Non-instructional, instructional and non-instructional were going to be on the July 6th meeting. Non-instructional will now be put on the July 6th meeting.
Okay.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, second by Ms. Thompson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. 5-0.
Could I just verify definitely that's 2 APs at Central? Because originally we did have 3. We did remove the one. That's pretty high tech. Update, there has been communication between the union president, the last with Ms. Annette. She has not piped in, which I expected her to. Mr. Dietzen has advised me what to do. I was waiting to hear from Ms. Annette, the bargaining side. She had advised what to do. If I do not hear from her, I will go ahead and do what Mr. Dietzen had stated. And
Mr. Leach needs to talk to us.
So
Can he talk to us? Can we have a meeting with him also?
my concern with high school high tech, just
I have a
for,
question on the floor, David.
I'm sorry. I added this to the agenda, so I wanted to clarify.
But she's talking now about
Okay, go
Mr.
ahead.
Deeks.
Go ahead,
She's
Ms.
specifically talking about his advisement with the high school high tech, though, is what she's speaking about.
Mhm. And so, you know, you get second-hand information. We don't see Mr. Deeks until every now and then, but Mr. Deeks has so much to tell us. And I think that we should hear from Mr. Deeks sometimes.
I was,
Ourselves, he should present to the board.
as of now, we are trying to schedule executive session for the 6th.
I understand that, but I think the point that she's trying to make is that you're making a lot of decisions that you want us to approve at the recommendation of somebody that we've gotten no information from. And that's why I requested for it, even if it's in an email format, as a follow-up of the conversation, you know, that I think that's what she's asking for.
Well, I believe you mentioned getting with Mr. Deason, didn't you?
And I would like to have
Trying
that
to have that
conversation
scheduled
with him.
now for the
I'd
6th.
like to have him to meet with us.
Okay. If I may, back to the high school high
Well, no,
tech.
wait a minute, okay, are we finished with the staffing allocation plan?
We've already moved
So
to
we're
the
done.
high school high
Okay.
tech.
4.3, high school high tech, go ahead.
Okay. So,
You moved down, I didn't.
no, Dr. Pickles was already.
Okay, moved down too, okay, go ahead.
I provided the update. I have not heard from Ms. Annette. If the board wants to hear from Mr. Dixon on the high school high tech, I will have to try to see what his schedule is to try to get, or have him put something in writing
Okay.
to the board.
So,
So do you want executive session, or do you want advisement from him? Do you want an email? How do you want it?
okay, from my understanding, if I may,
Hold on just 1 minute. I just want to be able to talk to Mr. Deeks about these things myself.
Executive
Okay,
session.
go ahead.
from my understanding, if the high school high tech account is not paid out by June 30th, our high school will lose that program. That is absolutely wonderful for our children. And I don't know what the holdup is. I have seen some correspondence back and forth. It seems a little personal if you ask me, that there's something going on, and maybe I'm just assuming. But for some reason, there's some issues regarding the high school high-tech account and why it has not been paid out, and we will lose the program and the funding. I want that to be abundantly clear to this community, to any parent who has a student that has benefited from the high school high-tech program, that if this is not addressed and handled and paid out by June 30th, we will no longer have a high school high-tech program. Those funds will move elsewhere to a different school or whoever applies for and receives that grant. So this program has been one that has been wonderful for our students. My own son has benefited from this program. These students get to go and visit different colleges. It is a very hands-on program that has greatly benefited our students, specifically and especially our ESE students, who will lose out on the benefit of this program.
Well, this board, Ms. Davis, this board can ask, and we can demand that we get that information.
I'd like to have
And we can have it and discuss it, and we can vote on it, whether we want to, if we want to keep it by the end of June. This board gets to make that decision.
And in order
And we
for
need to have it so that we can do it before June 30th.
Madam Chair, if I may, the union president approached me in November, and wanted to negotiate a supplement for high school high-tech. And I said, that's fine, just let me know when you want to. She has to work with that on her side. Asked me a time or two, verbally. She actually approached me at the high school. She was walking in, I was walking out. And I never heard anything else from her. I told her a couple times it had to be negotiated. All supplements have to be negotiated.
Let me ask you something.
Without that
Ms. Price was doing
in order
this,
to
right?
keep the program.
Until she-
Judge Price, yes.
Okay, well, she was getting paid, wasn't she?
Correct.
Correct.
So why are we negotiating when we already had someone, can't the other person she took her place?
Because that's not the way the union president approached it. She wanted a supplement paid.
So we
But if the supplement is already in place, why aren't we paying it?
Exactly. Here's the thing, we
Because
can go ahead
apparently
with
there's
it
not a
and decide
supplement
the
in
supplement
place.
later. We can keep that program, we can vote to keep that program, and the supplement issue, we can deal with it later.
No, what I'm trying to say is, it
If it's not
has
done.
to be done by June 30th.
Well,
It
that's what I'm
has to.
saying.
Otherwise, we lose the funding.
But that's what I'm saying, we do it, we do what we need to do, and that supplement that has been asked for, we're going by the staffing plan with all the other stuff.
Well, Dr. Pickles has to advise the finance department to pay that supplement out, to clear out the account, so that we use those funds by June 30th to be able to keep that.
So the last advisement, the area rep stated one thing, the union president is, they're not in agreement. Mr. Dixon's copied on the email. So I had to ask him, what do you want me to do? And he said, what was the prior person doing? How many hours? He said, do it just like what the area rep has indicated. So I can go ahead and pay that amount. So I went, it is not personal. I'm doing it as I was advised by the area rep and then Mr. Dixon. So I will reach back out to Mr. Dixon, see if he will put that in writing, that statement, and email it to each of you.
Well, let me ask you, I'm just
We
out of
need to do what we need
curiosity.
to do to keep
All
that
right, this
program.
person
And
worked
then
in
the
this
union-
position this past year, right?
Started in November.
November. Well, is she getting paid, or has she gotten any pay?
No, she turned in the supplement forms. Then she's gone back and turned in timesheets.
So she deserves it, right?
Yes, I'm not
So
arguing
you're not,
that.
okay, not arguing with that.
No.
Okay.
So she hasn't been paid anything, and she's been working since November.
I don't want to lose the program.
No, we don't want to lose the program, but
So-
we need to give her.
I mean, we can go ahead and authorize them, and if they need to file a brief with anything they need to do, then we can,
I would be upset if I had been doing something since November and I've not
Exactly.
received a paycheck. So,
so we can authorize that and face the consequences of it. We'll keep the program, we pay that, and if we've done something wrong, we can rectify.
I agree.
Is that a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
I second.
We have a motion by Ms. Knight, second by Ms.
Ms.
Thomas.
Hagan?
Ms. Hagan.
A motion by Ms. Hagan, second by Ms. Thompson.
To pay.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. 5-0.
So the motion was to pay according to the present present contract until there's negotiations.
And once there's negotiation,
And
then
there is no union contract, so do I, go by what?
Okay, wait. I'm not getting it. There was someone in the position last year, that person got paid, and that person was paid out all
So-
this. Why is there a difference this year? That's the part that's not.
She was there this year.
thank you.
This has never been under the union contract before.
I get it's not a union contract. What's the difference in paying out the money?
That's exactly.
It's never been under.
But we voted on it,
So the individual, so I just need to know, am I supposed to do as past practice has been, as Ms. Annette advised me to follow, and then Mr. Deason had said, do it how the past person was done, pay that. So that's what he's advised me to do.
Well, why hasn't it been done?
And
Oh, I just spoke to him Monday.
from my understanding, the rep for high school high tech cares so much about the program, the account needs to be cleared out for clarification. She's to the point where she doesn't care if they buy more supplies for the program. She wants the program to continue for the students. That's how important it is to her. So, in my opinion, whether it be purchasing things that have been requested or paying her the money she's owed because she's been working since November, regardless of how it's handled, this account needs to be paid out so that we can continue to receive the funding for the
And
program.
I just want to
We just
clarify.
voted on it, we don't have any other
And I
discussion.
just want to
A
clarify.
vote has been taken, and it passed.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to clarify. It's not a or for me. She should be paid for her services, and then the rest of the money should be used in whatever
Yes.
supplies,
We just voted to do
things
that.
that are necessary. And my understanding of the motion, just to clarify, so that we can make sure we're all on the same page, is that we are going to pay based on what was previously paid to the
Yes.
other person, and if there are any discrepancies, once a negotiation is made, we will rectify the difference. That, am I
That's what
clarifying?
I proposed.
You just
Okay.
clarified it very well. I think we've got.
That's all the agenda
All
items.
right, do you have anything to say?
Oh, no, I didn't put that on there.
I do have a question.
No, we're gonna-
Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Reeves?
So I just want to follow up, just to go back to, I know we're in a busy season here, and we have a lot going on. I just don't want it to fall through the cracks. I'm sorry, Tommy. But I do want to make sure that we do not forget that we have workshop on policies. And we had a lot of things that we discussed, and there's still a lot of things to be discussed in the future. There's still a lot that we didn't get to. So I just want to make sure that we keep that on the radar, that we are still working on those things, and we are going to continue to workshop the ones that we did not get to.
They have not been forgotten.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Nothing,
Ms. Hagan?
nothing.
Mr. Carroll? Ms. Thompson? Okay, I think we've covered it all.
Do we have public
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Public comment?
She's
No, she's already, she's good.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.